Jesus shares God's glory. Prove me wrong. If Jesus isn't God, then why does he claim to share God's glory when God himself says he will not share his glory with another? In Isaiah 42:8, God declares that his glory is his alone. Yet in John 17:5, Jesus says, he had that glory before the world began. Skeptics, can you explain this? The night was heavy with sorrow. Jesus and his disciples had finished their Last Supper. The weight of what was coming hung in the air. Betrayal, arrest, a brutal death on a Roman cross. But before it all, Jesus did something extraordinary. He prayed, and what he said in that prayer left no room for doubt about who he truly was. Jesus' prayer, the glory he had before the world. Jesus lifted his eyes toward heaven and spoke, Father, glorify me in your presence with the glory I had with you before the world existed. John 17:5. The disciples listened. Did they hear him right? Before the world existed? He was claiming to have been with God before creation. But that wasn't the most shocking part. God's exclusive glory. For centuries, Israel had known one unshakable truth. God does not share his glory with anyone. The prophet Isaiah had recorded God's words long ago. I am the Lord, that is my name. My glory I will not give to another. Isaiah 42:8. To whom will you compare me? Who is my equal? Isaiah 46:5. God had made it clear. His glory belonged to him alone. No angel could claim it. No prophet was worthy of it. No mere man could possess it. And yet, Jesus claimed he had it before the world began. The Pharisees knew what this meant. This wasn't the first time Jesus had spoken of his divine nature. Earlier, he had declared, Before Abraham was, I am. John chapter 8:58. The religious leaders picked up stones to kill him because they understood exactly what he was claiming. And now, in this final prayer before his arrest, Jesus openly declared he had God's glory from eternity past. If Jesus wasn't God, how could he claim this? The Transfiguration, a glimpse of glory. The disciples had already seen a glimpse of Jesus' glory. On a high mountain, Peter, James, and John saw something they would never forget. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. Matthew 17:2. Moses and Elijah appeared, speaking with him. And then a voice from heaven thundered, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. The disciples fell to the ground in fear. They had seen a glimpse of the divine glory that Jesus had from the beginning, the same glory he prayed to return to. The challenge to skeptics. Here's the challenge. If Jesus isn't God, explain this. God says, I will not share my glory with another. Isaiah 42:8. Yet Jesus says, Father, glorify me with the glory I had with you before the world was. John 17:5. If only God possesses divine glory, why does Jesus claim it? If Jesus isn't God, why does he say he shared the Father's glory before creation? No prophet ever made this claim. No angel ever spoke these words. No religious leader dared to say this. So, if Jesus isn't God, prove me wrong. Closing and call to action. Jesus wasn't just a teacher. He is the Lord of glory. The question is, do you believe it? If you believe Jesus is God, type Jesus is Lord in the comments. If you don't, explain this passage. For more powerful Bible truths, like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Jesus shares the glory of God. What will you do with that truth? Do.